All right, Entree Architect community is 4 p.m. Eastern, which means it's time for the Entree Architect Context and Clarity Book Club discussion for Friday, January 6th, 2023. As you get here, say hi, let us know that you're here, and let us know where here is for you. Where are you joining this conversation from? If we've never met before, my name is Jeff. I'm in Indianapolis. I come here every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern for one reason, so that we can find clarity around the things that matter most to you, the architect. Doesn't matter if you're the employee of a firm or you own your own firm. Maybe you circle a date on the calendar. You said, hey, 2023 is my year, and you're on the runway to starting your own thing. Or maybe, like Wendy, you've owned your own firm for a little while. Maybe you've owned your firm for a long while, and you're starting to rethink or reimagine what that firm could or maybe even should be. All of the topics that we cover, one topic every day, they all fall under the broad umbrella of the business of architecture, and they're all the need to know topics for the success of entrepreneur architects just like you. So thanks for joining us today, as usual, for these book club discussions and Context and Clarity Live discussions. I am joined today by Catherine McPhail. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Jeff. I was just thinking I should learn how to say your thing in sign language. That would give me a
that
useful role here anyway,
that
maybe
would
I'll
be.
learn that. I'll show you someday.
I'll be very impressed if you do that. Oh, and then I just realized in the middle of that I told everybody this morning that if they wanted to join us on
Mm,
screen, that they should message me via Facebook. And I have not even gone over and
mm.
checked
I wonder how
Facebook.
many
So
you'll have. How many do you think you're going to have? How many messages?
I don't know. I don't know how many people read our book. Is our December Context and Clarity Book Club Book of the Month. It was the Proximity Principle. See, this is a rarity of real physical book, The Proximity Principle by Ken Coleman, who was our Context and Clarity live guest yesterday. So we got to talk to the author yesterday, and today we will discuss his book in our normal book club fashion. I know it's not the last Friday in December, um, because that Friday fell between Christmas and New Year's. We pushed it back a week. So it's time, even though it's a different Friday, it's time to discuss the book. Wendy says she listened to it. I did too. I
I did too.
don't, yep, I don't hold anything against anybody that listens rather than reads. I
I
think
consider that
that
reading it.
is
You've consumed the book as far as I'm concerned.
exactly. And there is research out there that equates listening to reading. So I'm down with it. As I look at the comments here, I see that Wendy's the first in the room. So she is the winner of today's John Kinney Memorial Crocheted Bathtub Award. So congratulations, Wendy,
Mm.
up there. Or yeah, is that up there from me? Is she up there from you? She's west of you, yes, in
She is
Massachusetts.
west of me, and I think a little bit north as well, because I'm south. If you go over to the west, I'm in Rhode Island. So
you're,
I would
you're
be in Rhode Island right now. I'm not, but I'm on that like the little hanging part on the bottom
okay. All right, got
of
it,
Massachusetts.
got it. Well,
Yeah,
welcome back from Western Massachusetts, Wendy and Don Duncan. I see you up there. Ooh, fresh new owner of
that's
L4M
exciting.
Architecture. Well, congratulations, Don Duncan. He's a friend from up in Valparaiso, Indiana. So congrats on that, Don. Happy New Year. Really, really happy to hear that. We should talk more. Thanks for joining us over from the LinkedIn side, and Mark R. LePage from YouTube, the YouTube star. Let's see, Tim. It looks like Tim Dearborn is commenting. Maybe our comments aren't working too well. Let's put the I'll put
Well,
that on
maybe
the
that's
screen.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're like Tim or anybody else and you're commenting from a Facebook group and your comments aren't showing up, maybe time to re reestablish those connections. Go to chat.restream.io/FB as in Facebook. It's just a couple clicks to give Facebook permission to talk to Restream. Let your comments out, and hopefully Tim and Wendy says Kurt was first but he's not on our screen. So
Hmm.
that doesn't count. Sorry,
Mysterious.
Kurt.
Yeah, it doesn't work for us.
Yeah. And quit,
Sorry.
Wendy, quit trying to give your award away. Celebrate it. You got to celebrate your accomplishments. But maybe Kurt, maybe Tim need to update their connection here. And I know it expires. So I don't know how often, or I don't know exactly how that works, but chat.restream.io/FB will solve all of your problems. Jessica, welcome back from Los Angeles. She says this week was too long and not long enough, but we made it. Yeah, I totally identify with that.
That's very
Totally
true.
identify.
Yep.
Yep. John Jones says, "Woot, woot, go Wendy." Welcome back from Connecticut, and hey, Coffee Sketch Podcast. I think Kurt
He changed his
is that
name
a
yesterday. Yep.
okay? Yeah,
That's the
I
name of
knew
his
that.
podcast.
Yeah, I knew that. It usually shows up as his firm name, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, he said
Well,
yesterday, you might not have seen the comment, but he did say he changed his on-screen name.
okay, yeah, I missed it. I missed it. So thanks for catching that. Um, Tim, yes, it is working now, and that so Coffee Sketch Podcast is Kurt and Jamie. It's pretty cool. I've been following Jamie's sketching, and I love the fact that the two of them are collaborating. I've been following Jamie for a long time on Instagram. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a couple times in person at AIA national events. So very cool thing that they've got going on there as well. John says that Kurt's twitching. He is twitching, literally.
That
Let's see.
happens to all of us.
Tim says he hasn't read the book. He's a few behind. He's still working on The Color of Law. That's all right. I get it. And that's why um, I started recording videos. I started with this book, even though I said I would start in January. Well, technically I did start in January, but it was the December book. Um, Turned out to be a little bit bigger effort than I had anticipated. I've got to get some sort of workflow developed, but I recorded a series of short videos. You can find them on TikTok, on my account on TikTok, or on the Context and Clarity um, Instagram
Hmm.
account feed, whatever it is. And so I broke it down. There are limitations on the Instagram side. I think it's 9 videos. And then on the TikTok side, it's something like 11 because you're limited to like 3 minute snippets. So, or at least I am with a very, very minor account over there. So I'm going to try to do that for all the upcoming books for Context and Clarity, or for our Context and Clarity book club. Give you a little Cliff's Notes version. So you can go check that
Wow.
out if you haven't read
Can
the
I use
book.
that too, or do I still have to read the book?
Well, if you could fake it well enough, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. All right. I won't need
Yeah,
to
but
tell you.
you know enough about it. You've already talked to the author, and
Well, I
I
have
know
read it.
you
I
did.
actually did read it this time, but I'm
Yeah,
saying in the
this
future,
one.
I
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
just you could get me you could do all the work and just feed me the information. That would be nice.
That's that's fine. We can do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do it.
Michelle says I think she's saying she didn't read any of the books last year or this year. So is that what she's
Okay.
saying, Michelle?
Well, then we're not. If that's the case, we're not giving Michelle a gold star. I'm just saying. Just
She's
saying.
not getting it. Not
Yep.
getting the gold star. That's okay. Maybe not everybody wants it. That doesn't mean they should go find a new profession, but
No,
no,
no. Not
just don't like reading the
That's
books.
not a requisite. No. Hi, Amy Baker from Michigan. 2 words, one name, and Ed Shannon from Iowa. Um, Looks like Ed says he was first on Facebook, but not connected. Yeah, the screen here
The
to
one
the
that
side of
counts.
us, whichever side that is, as I'm looking at it to the right, that's the official screen. Yep, that one over there. So, um, but welcome. Glad you're here for the conversation. And again, if anybody wants to join us on screen, since we're simulcasting this, I'm not going to publish the link to join us here on screen out to the masses, because who knows what would happen at that point. But if you'd
I don't
like
know. It
to
might
join
actually
us,
be interesting, Jeff.
well, I guess it depends on your definition of interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
different, out of the
but
ordinary.
it could be quite out of the ordinary. But if you would like to join us here on screen, just message Catherine or I on Facebook right now, and we will give you the link, and you can join us right here on screen. And if not, as always, we'll engage with you right here in the comments as well. So again, today it's book club discussion day. We're pushed back a week because of the holidays. We're discussing Kenneth, what Ken Coleman, whew, Ken Coleman's book. That's Ken Coleman. You saw him yesterday on Context and
Okay.
Clarity Live. It's the Proximity Principle by Ken Coleman, the proven strategy that will lead to the career that you love. And I think it's important to point out that a lot this book is really framed around finding your dream job or making career changes. But as Ken mentioned yesterday, and I thought, the very first time that I like Wendy and Catherine, I listened to the book, even though I have this spine has not been broken yet on this book. Um, I don't even think it's like a leap. I think it's about half a step to how do I apply this to finding my dream client or a dream project or um, moving into a different project type or something like that. I don't think that's a stretch at all. And we talked about that a little bit with Ken yesterday. So um, the question is, what's this book about? What's this book about, Catherine?
Well, it's about getting kind of close to the people who are doing what you want to do, whether that be like it could be school or it could be a job or it could be just driving someone around who does what you want to do, learning about the industry from them directly and making yourself useful without actually asking for a job. And they will have you at the top of their mind and you will eventually get a job.
Yeah.
That's the short version.
How did I really liked the way that James Polk put it um, on Clubhouse this morning. So we talked about this morning inside the Entree Architect Network on on our morning mindset call. That alliteration for some reason is killing me.
Morning mindset.
And then we talked about it on Clubhouse this morning, and James Polk boiled it down and he says you need to be where the action is or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you did.
And I thought that was a good way of putting it. There are there are three questions, I guess, that sort of frame up the proximity principle. And the first one is, who do I need to know? The second one is, where do I need to be? And the third one is, what do I need to start doing? And I think that sort of frames up a good simple strategy. Not necessarily easy. We talked about that yesterday, but a simple strategy for getting things done. Let's see.
Hmm. I had kind of a similar question, and people did also have the same question that Ed just asked. Having not read the book, are we practicing the proximity by being close to each other here?
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, in terms of being around other people who might be pursuing dreams you want, like kind of elevating your own personal self, being the average of the five
Yep.
people you hang out with the most,
Yeah.
I would say yes, but it's
Yeah. I would say, and an important aspect of this is um, what's the goal, right? You can't answer. I don't think you can answer that question
right. That's true.
without attaching it to a goal, right? What's the goal? And if the goal is X and this applies, then sure. But Ken Coleman yesterday said, he talked about that goal and going as deep as what's your why, and that's if for those of you that joined the morning mindset call on which day was that? I think it was Monday of this week. I asked if you had what do you say? Declare a resolution, claim a what do you do? How do you
I think you make
s-
a resolution.
make a resolution? There you go. I asked if you'd made a resolution or if you'd set a big goal for 2023. And the so what we do in the morning mindset is I basically try to give you some sort of encouragement and a challenge, right? Because it's all about action. So the question was, if you made a resolution or you set a big goal, why? And not why did you do that, but why was that the goal or why was that the resolution? Kind of
Mm,
going back to the purpose of that. And I think that aligns with what Ken said yesterday. So I guess to put it back on Ed, um, what's your goal? And for anybody else, what's your goal? What are you trying? Maybe we could just work through the proximity principle with people right now, right? Because it starts with the people you need to know and the places you need to be and the actions you need to take. So if you want to put your goal in the comments, we can actually live here during the conversation work through some of those things maybe.
workshop it.
Workshop it. That's a good
We
term.
could.
I like
We
that
could.
term.
Yeah. Um, I know I got a little hot about it yesterday, but I just want to say that it's just not the maybe, because I already have achieved a bunch of goals, and maybe I need to be reading the book about once you achieve your goal, then where do you go from there? Do you have to set other ones? You always have to be on fire about your goal. How long do you stabilize your position? One of my goals was to get a house, an old house that I could electrify, which I did, and it's electrified now. There's still more work to do, but do I abandon that now and go do something else? I don't know. Anyway, that's the book I need. Maybe not like how to go hang out with people who can help me achieve my goal.
Well, you brought that up this morning on Clubhouse, I think,
Mhm.
and I was thinking about that, and one, you know me, I like to bring up the different books that we've read and stuff, and so I've brought up like Atomic Habits this week, and of course, Proximity Principle, and others, and I was thinking about what you said, um, and I thought, Atomic Habits probably applies to that. Hey, I've got this goal and I've achieved it, right? It's sort of that I think what you're describing is not like this. You're not talking about this huge life goal. You're talking about this house and you're talking about this other thing. And, these goals that, like you said, you've achieved along the way. And I wondered if, if the proximity principle, if it wasn't about, now that I say this, I've got to I'm going a different direction, but if it wasn't about maybe a bigger goal. But the way he frames it up in the book is dream job
Right.
or career change. So it's very finite. It's like,
Yeah.
once I get to that point, although in his journey he talks about how, and this is in the book, as you know as well, the knowing when to pivot. He pivoted from politics to sports broadcasting to just
Mm.
like broadcasting or whatever, however he defines what he does now. Um, so I don't know. I think it's, I think that's an interesting philosophical question.
Well, I keep checking here to see if anybody wants to join us on here, but I don't think I've gotten any requests yet. Just to give you a little update. Um,
I have not,
well, what I mean is
unless
once you achieve a goal, like I wanted to be an architect and now then I became an architect. I am one and I just continue to be one. And then so you just layer the goals on top of that. I mean, I can totally see how you could apply it to getting certain types of clients when you talk about that a lot. How do you get in front of your
Mhm.
clients?
Yeah,
I can see that. I mean, it I think most of us probably already employ the proximity principle in achieving our goals anyway, right? I mean, I wanted to get into Scottish music, so I hung around a lot of Scottish musicians and then helped them like drive them places. And then now I'm helping them with the camps and stuff. And so then I get tunes written for me and stuff. So now I'm part of the community because I've been hanging out, right? I mean, that's kind of the way
yeah,
that goes.
yeah. I think that's a good example of it. right? I mean, I would absolutely agree that what you just described is 100% employing the proximity principle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if most people are doing that. I know plenty of people that are not.
Oh.
I know plenty of people that have the sort of the build it and they will come mentality. Hey, I start this business or I do this thing, and I'm not pointing at anybody in particular, but I just I've talked to a lot of people. Hey, if I put my website up or I put a few images on Instagram or whatever the thing is,
Mhm.
then people are going to find me and I'm going to do my thing. And I forget the example that Ken used yesterday now off the top of my head, but it's sort of the self-fulfilling prophecies. Um, and I run into some of those people sometimes and they go, yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't found the projects that I really want to be working on, or I haven't found the clients that I really want. And I reading this book from the outside looking in, and some of these I know more than just the outside looking in, but it's like, yeah, I don't think you've actually put in the work that he's talking about, because this is a book about being very present and intentional and making those lists and doing that research. And
Mm.
there's a reason that marketing consultants exist, just as
Is
a
there?
sort of a yeah, there is. um and that reason is generally that people don't want to do whatever, however they tag it. They don't do the hard work of the research and the outreach and the connecting and things like that. And so
Mm.
they'll pay someone else to do it for them. Fine. That's that's a business model, right? That's that. But I think that's an application of
Mm.
the proximity principle, right? If
Right.
we were working on a marketing plan, it would start with who is it, what's the goal, and who you're trying to reach.
True. True. But you kind of, I think a lot of the proximity principle was about building relationships with these people,
Yes, yeah.
which you can't really hire anybody else to do.
People try to hire people
Oh,
to
okay.
do that,
Well, it
but
seems like
yes,
that
I
would
would.
be harder to do. Make
I
friendships like
agree.
through a
Yeah,
surrogate.
yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and to be fair, that's in our world, that's the realm of business development rather than marketing.
Mm.
When we talk about it in that way, but yeah, I think that is much harder um, to if not impossible to really hire somebody to do.
Hmm.
Let's see.
So, what? I mean, I know we talk about this a lot, getting in front of your clients, but how would you apply the proximity principle and getting certain types of projects? If you already have your dream job of being an architect, which we all know is a dream job.
Well, I guess everybody's achieved their dream. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I think so. So in the book, the five types of people that he talks about are professors, professionals, mentors, peers, and producers. And so the professors are the instructors in your field, people that are teaching, the stuff that you want to learn. The professionals are the people that are doing it at a high level. The mentors are the people that are guiding you and helping you. The peers are the people around you that are going along the journey with you. And the producers are the people that create the jobs and hire. I think
Mm.
in order to make that uh, that pivot, I guess that we're talking about, I think you've got to tweak those a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, just
I
have
don't,
different titles of the type of person, I guess, right?
yeah, or even slightly different definitions. If you're looking for, if you want to get into, well, maybe not. I mean, so your question was about finding a different project type. Is that what it
Well, I'm
was?
just saying if we're taking the proximity principle and applying its advice to leveling up in our work, not getting a different job, but getting different whatever it may be, whether it's different client type or different building type or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering how we could apply it to our own lives,
So if we said,
our
"Okay, I
hypothetical
wanna"
lives.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, let's try it out. If we said that we wanted to, um, start designing libraries, I don't know,
Sure, let's
who
say
would
that.
the professors be?
Well, those would be the people who are teaching you how to design a library,
So it might be other,
other
you know,
architects who
who
already
yeah, yeah, it
yeah,
might be some firm that's or a specific architect that is a thought leader that publishes
yeah, or just yeah, who
something.
design famous libraries and study their plans and their
Yeah,
whatever, they might have monographs on them or something like that.
yeah. And then I
Right.
guess the professionals, I mean, that there's probably a strong link there. It's those firms that are doing, right? That are designing the libraries.
Mhm.
The
Well, you could go
mentors,
work for a firm that designs libraries, I guess, and then
yeah,
get the experience you need and go somewhere
yeah.
else.
Well, and I think that's the interest one of the interesting things about the proximity principle. You've got the 5 people types, and then you've got the 5 places, and, there's a strong overlap between those. So
Mhm.
if I find that firm that is, the best at designing libraries or whatever, and I need to go learn about designing libraries, then place number 2 is a place to learn and get certified. So maybe
Okay,
I need
so
to
we've
go
maybe already done that as architects. Like, we
maybe.
can't get any more certified, right?
But you're trying to get into a new project type.
Yeah.
You're trying to get into designing libraries. So maybe you go get a job with one of those firms,
Mhm.
or maybe it's maybe our version of that, right? If you're an entrepreneurial architect, I don't want to go get a job. I already have a job. I have my own firm. Maybe it's find some way to partner with one of those firms.
Mm.
You bring some value, whatever that is, and partner with
Yeah.
them and learn in the process.
That's true, you could partner with somebody who already has a library experience. You could
Yeah.
also maybe be one of the people on the building committees of a public library that's
Mhm.
maybe happening in your town or
Yeah.
university or whatever. As an architect, you could be the one there to help and learn what it's like through that.
Yeah.
A couple people want get a library card. That is a good idea, Rod. Rod and Michelle
Mine
both want the link, but I can you send me the link and I'll send them the link.
oh, yeah, here.
I don't know what the link is because
It's
I
the
just show
little,
up here as you and I come in the back door, the
it's the
service
little person
entrance.
icon at in the circles at
Oh,
the
the
bottom.
person. Oh, the one that has a plus next to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that
makes
one.
sense. Yeah, I got it.
That one. Cool. Ed says if you own your own firm and you're trying to break into a new building type, it can be tough. Find a way to joint venture with a library firm. Yeah, there you go. What do I bring to the table then? I don't know. I don't know I mean, I know, Ed, that you've started focusing a little bit on, or maybe more than a little bit on, historic and some of the, John Jones once as well.
Yeah.
Um, some of the, like the small towns around you and up by the lake. Maybe it's a situation where they want to do a library. It's a renovation of an historic building, or it's in one of those downtowns, or is there something local? You've got to get creative about it, right?
Mhm.
Um, they're not going to partner with you if you don't bring anything to the table. Obviously,
Well,
I mean
but the
that's
thing is,
that's
the
what
thing you're
people
bringing to
know.
the table would be the job. Like, for some reason, you're the one who got the
Maybe,
job, right? And then you're bringing them in to help you because, you need help. And then the way you get the job, right, either it's from partying with the librarians, as somebody said. I don't know if that was Ed who said that was an idea. But,
partying with
you're
librarians.
like, let's say you're involved in your own town politics, then you would be a known person as an architect. In my experience, those are the first people they might go to for advice on these projects, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm backstage, there are no M&Ms. That's what Rod says.
Yeah, there. Look for the Reese cups.
Well, they're only there on Thursdays, I think. Yeah, we haven't had M&Ms in a
Well,
while. Should I let
you
him
know,
back
it's
on?
quite possible that Ken ate them all. So
He seems like the type.
yeah,
Should I let Rod in?
I don't know. It's fun to watch him
All right.
wait for us backstage there. Hi, Rod.
Hello. Happy New
So
Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. I've also sent the link to Michelle and John, so I sent you through a Facebook message.
Let's go to
All
full
right.
screen here.
I sent you through a Facebook message.
Oh, someone needs to mute
Mm.
Facebook.
I don't have Facebook on, so it's not me.
All right. Welcome. So, John Jones in Connecticut, across the street from Starbucks in Westport. There you go. His iced Americano. Have you,
I have a
I
cappuccino.
don't ask this to put you on the spot, but have you read Proximity Principle?
No, I'm
Okay.
just crashing.
He just wants to be
No,
close to us so that he can maybe know what the book is about. See, by
he's
hanging out with us.
Oh, wait.
working on.
At my brother Rod's suggestion, there were some YouTube videos of podcasts or presentations that he's done. So I watched about 20 minutes of those prior to yesterday and got a good idea what it's about. So
I love that you call him Brother Rod. That's so sweet and lovely.
Brother John,
Sister Susie.
my significant other just made me a cappuccino.
Nice.
Cheers.
Erica says she's late to the party, but she finished the book this morning. Congratulations,
Erica, you
Erica.
finished the book. That qualifies you to come on if you like.
Yeah.
Erica is on a book reading challenge. She's crushing it.
Yep.
Who is?
Yeah.
Erica?
The opposite of me. My goal is to read 0 books.
Did you achieve that goal, John?
He's crushing his goal. Yeah.
The downward goal principle.
There you go.
is a thing, you know. I mean,
Is it?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a lot. It's much easier to aspire to go this way than why not? I'm not on the screen here. What's going on?
You're right.
Go this way than this way.
It's easier to go this way.
I mean, it's easier to watch kitten videos and Netflix than to turn off your computer and do some deep focused work.
Yeah, you know what? For some reason, I've been told how often I watch TikTok. It keeps telling me that I watched. I don't even want to. Okay, I'm going to say it because maybe a new goal will be. I do want to break up with my phone. 15 hours last week.
Over the course of the week?
Yeah. But do you know how much time I would love to have, Jeff? I would love to have 15 hours to spend doing something. If someone said to me, "I'll do 15 hours a week."
Are you sitting and doing? Are you multitasking at the time?
No, well, not really. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do just have it on, and I don't have to watch it when it's the story ones. But I do not need to be doing that. It doesn't even count how many hours I listen to podcasts or how many hours I listen to books.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
Podcasts and books, though. Like I've been out clearing out all the dead plants from the hard freeze we had, and I listened to the War of Art book. 2.5 hours, is all it was. Excellent book. I highly recommend it. And I listened to a couple of interviews with that author. And, I listened to a couple Entree Architect podcasts while I was out there. And so I figured I was doubling up on my time. So now I can watch 15 hours of TikTok. Except I don't have it. But. So what do you watch? What do you watch on there?
On TikTok?
Yeah. Scottish violin players or what?
I watch a lot of political videos and videos about, it depends on what's happening. But I like to watch
Watching the
people's
Kevin
stories
McCarthy
or
channel.
kittens. Yeah, there was a lot about McCarthy recently. So yeah, I'm just saying I'm embarrassed to say that I watched 15 hours a week. It was down 15% from the week before. So I just have to stop doing that. And so yeah, just confessing it so I can stop and I can put it to better use.
Now, do you consider that time like self-sabotage time? Or are you considering that like
Well, a lot of it's when I'm in
reward
bed.
for all a reward for what you did do?
Well, I guess what I would like to do is go to bed and read instead of go to bed and watch TikTok videos because sometimes they're upsetting anyway, and that doesn't help me sleep. And it just seems like there's so many books I want to read that I could be reading and falling asleep reading those instead of watching TikTok. So
Instead of watching the solved cold cases of 2022 or something for a couple hours, something like that.
Jeff,
Help you
excuse me,
sleep.
Rod. Jeff, was that from you? I already blocked the guy. Now he cannot see your response. I almost just blocked you. Now I realize it was host. Might be you.
Yeah, I had to drop that famous quote from Say Anything in there because it seemed to be an appropriate
Say
response
anything.
to.
Now that was a good movie.
Anyway, we're back. We're back in
Here
the
we are. Try it
proximity
again.
of.
Um,
of
well, I don't know. I'm going to have that as a goal this year. Break up with my
Hey,
phone. Oh,
Michelle.
Michelle, you're back.
No, I figured it out because I was still on the Zoom call. That's why. So it can't use both video cameras at the same time. That's why.
You were double dipping. All right, Michelle. Michelle, did you read the book?
No. I'm like John. I'm not gonna. We're on an. We're not gonna read anything.
They're just showing up in their black turtlenecks.
No. I do try. I just spoke to this mom from like school, right? That I saw. She's a teacher, and I asked her. I said, "Do you read? Do you read? Do you get a chance to read anywhere?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm in a book club. That's the only reason why I ever read at all." And I'm like, I'm trying to be in a book club too, and I still don't read the book. So,
All right. Well, this one was a really easy one. It's too bad you missed this one because it was only 4 hours, and if you listen at 2.1, and he was a really slow talker, it ended up being only about 2 hours.
Yeah, here's some Facebook feedback.
I don't have it on though.
I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't have it either.
Getting an echo.
I deleted it from the browser.
Make sure I don't
It's still
have
on
it.
there.
Jefferson says he's in 2 book clubs. Well, I wonder how much are you reading, Jefferson? How many books are you reading? What's that caused you to do?
No,
let's
I am
see.
not in Facebook. Okay.
So I'm going to say this out loud. I don't know if this is completely advisable or not, but so yesterday when we were talking to Ken Coleman, and he said, I forget exactly what he said, but he was channeling Donald Miller, who many of you know is someone I like to talk about a lot, right? Building a story brand. And I happened to know that Ken Coleman and Donald Miller live in the same town in Tennessee. So I asked him, I said, hey, that sounds a lot like Donald Miller. Do you know Donald Miller? Figured they knew each other. And he says, yeah, Don and I have been friends for a long time. So now you can see the proximity principle sort of, or the strategy behind it kind of playing out because you know what my email to him today was. Can you introduce us to Donald Miller? And maybe we can get Donald Miller on the show. So I'm just throwing that out there to the universe. Maybe with this connection, we can actually capitalize on the proximity principle.
That's great. I have a question just about how this is being broadcast right now, because there are things I'd like to share, but I just if
it's going
out to the global community, I'll probably just keep it quiet.
Yeah,
it's going out to the. Yeah, it's going out to the.
Okay.
It's bouncing off of Jupiter and coming back.
Okay.
You can put it in the private chat here, though, if you want, John.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now I want to know.
I know I
Jefferson
shared this in
wondering where.
Clubhouse the other day that
Mhm.
without hearing of the proximity principle, when I started my biz development challenge coming out of Austin, I realized that there was some key people that I really need to meet in the area who are real influencers, and that's
Oh, yeah.
it's started off, kind of being selfish, like I need to meet them to help grow my business, but it's turned out to be very rewarding in many ways. So that's about all I think I want to say about that.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, I remember you talking
It's a
about
good
that
thing.
before. So. Yeah.
One thing that I said this morning, I guess, was that I think and this is one of the things that worries me, is that there are other people like me. Like that's always a worry. But when March of 2020 came around, eh, prior to that, I was in the habit of probably of as James put it this morning, sort of being where the action was. Being out there talking to people, can physically connecting with people, whether it was here in Indianapolis or wherever. And of course, everything shut down in March of 2020, as we know, which has really led to this conversation today, quite literally. And one byproduct of all that was I got really comfortable sitting in this chair in my basement. And now it is really, I'm out of the habit of going to this to connect with people, or even working in the coffee shops where I know, I would work in coffee shops where I knew people would be that I needed to be close to. I haven't done that in almost, well, I mean, March of this year will be 3 years, right? So I'm out of that habit, and I've gotten into, this real comfort zone of being in the matrix here. And I worry that others are the same way, and we're not, maybe not even thinking about, because it's like, that's right. I used to go to that coffee shop because I knew so and so and so and so and so and so would likely show up, and I could see them 2 or 3 times a week, and I could be in front of them all the time. And they would say, "Hey, how's it going?" And maybe we'd do something together, or maybe they'd say, "Hey, I need to introduce you to," those types of things.
Mm.
And it's so far removed at this point that I know I'm out of the habit. And so for me, reading this book, it was kind of like, oh yeah, that used to be.
Think of all those people who are going to that coffee shop and where's Jeff? Whatever happened to where's Jeff?
There's
Yeah, they might
nobody,
think
but
I don't think. I mean, Jeff, I don't think that the way you're feeling is probably is. I don't think it's just you. I think that there's a lot of people. I mean, even like even trying to get things with the AIA, like just trying to get people like back, or if they are showing up, they're like showing up at the last minute, right? They're kind of like making last minute decisions to purchase it. And I mean, even like the Monterey Design Conference, when I went to it, I mean, there were a lot of people there that were like, oh, we just decided. And there was one person that owns a firm. I mean, like actually there've been several people that I've spoken to that are at like a firm of maybe like 15 or 20 people. And they've said like, oh yeah, this is the first kind of outing or conference that we've gone to, and that was like in October of 2022. And I was kind of surprised because they used to be everywhere, right? They would go everywhere, and they were, and they were a firm owner, and they were pretty cautious when they were at the MDC, even though like it's outdoors and stuff. I mean, I think younger, there have been younger people that are maybe more likely to do it, but I think for the most part, I think a lot of people just still don't, I mean, I think it's just gonna, right. It was a stressful time for a lot of people, and it's just like kind of getting back out there. The only reason why, the big reason why not the only reason, the big reason why I leave the house is because I have so many people living here. I just need to get out of the house. Like, I'm just like, I need to get out of the house. I am tired of all of you people here. I just need to get out and do stuff. And that pushes me to like go out and do things. And,
But
so,
yeah, we were like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, with Christmas, before Christmas, I told my partner Yana, I was like, well, we should go make sure we go, to the festivities and go out and, do some Christmassy things. And, we got invited to a couple things, and we were going to go to, hear some music or whatever. We ended up not doing any of it. I mean, it was just like, I kind of just want to stay home. Kind of just want to nest. So kind of still in a nesting mode, because it was, I liked it. We liked it.
I mean, we went to a party. We went to a party that like she hadn't had in a few years. There was a woman architect, and she has a studio, and it's downtown. And we went to it, and she was like, oh yeah, like 100 people like used to show up, And I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of people. I mean, like, what are they going to do? Like all the neighbors and stuff, like, are they going to be upset that you're like that? And we showed up, and, I probably showed up at, I don't know, I think it had started at 6, and I probably showed up at 8 or something. And there were maybe 20 people there. And then it kind of like shut down at about like 9 or 10. And now she wants to have like these pop-up dance parties. And I'm like, I wonder if anybody will show up. Like, I don't think that it's kind of,
you hang with a very hip crowd, Michelle.
Pop-up dance party at Michelle's.
Well, no, it was just no. I mean,
got 20 people there.
Remembers this because Catherine was in LA too. But anyway, I mean, so there were these places in LA in the 90s where it would be like some little restaurant during the day, but then at night it would open up to a dance party. There was this place that used to be on Olympic, right? It was the Mexican restaurant. Did you ever go there, Catherine?
No, no.
And so you would go there, and there would be all these people that were in the architecture community that would like just go just as a place to go dancing, right? Because you didn't want to go dancing in like a dance club where you were gonna, where there was a dress code and it was like $100 or whatever to get in. You just wanted to be able to like dance and like just have some drinks and stuff. And so that's kind of like that's kind of the that's why. So this is kind of based on that same principle, and she's like, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll help you with it. So that's all
right. Two things. You said there's no dress code, but I guarantee that if this is a pop-up dance party thing that's for a bunch of architects, there's a dress code. Okay. It's all black. It's glass. It's the most stereotypical thing I can even imagine. And the second thing is, I'm pretty sure that there's a whole bunch of Elaine Bennis's in there dancing.
Oh no!
I just picture like craft work. It's gonna be a craft work, pop-up craft work.
All right. So how do we? That took an interesting turn there. That Erica's on her way to the pop-up dance party. That's cool.
Oh, good, yeah.
So how do we? That took an interesting turn with it being a bunch of architects. So when we think about the proximity principle, we talked about the 5 people types, which was the professors, the professionals, the mentors, and we started going down that library path, the peers and the producers. The 5 right places, I guess, are the place where you are right now. And there's a good example that always sticks in my head from the book about the guy in Charlotte that wanted to get into like movie production, but he was, I don't know about moving my wife and kids, moving the whole family from Charlotte to LA. And Ken's like, how many production companies are there in Charlotte? Right. There's a bunch. And so he ended up starting his career and eventually did move to LA. But the place where you are right now, a lot of businesses were started in garages. What can you do with what you've got where you are? That's the one. The second is a place to learn and to get certified. I doubt Eric is laughing out loud at the Elaine thing. I doubt that learning to dance, those pop-up dance parties were probably not the place to learn to dance, but
You could study how other people dance,
you
though.
could do the herky
Very,
jerky.
very anthropological.
If you want to fit in with the dancing architects, at least.
This is true.
Pop-up
The third place
dance.
is a place to practice and experience. The fourth is a place to perform, and the fifth is a place to grow and polish skills. So, Michelle, tell me more about the dance parties. Which places were those?
I think a pop-up dance party covers like most of that.
The
I
ones
think
in
I must have
LA?
that.
The ones in LA or the ones
Yeah,
that's right now?
anyone. If you want to be like the go-to
Uh-huh.
person for pop-up dance parties, where do you
Well, there
learn how
was
to do
one.
that?
Well, and also there's there's an architect here in town, James Brown. He used to be
that explains the dance
James
parties.
Brown.
It does.
yeah, but he's not that James Brown. But
Is that
yeah,
James Brown
but
dead?
he owns Bread and Salt here in town. And so when he has openings, so it's an old building in Barrio Logan here, and he kind of turned it into an art space. So it's got a lot. I mean, it's got so the Pechacuchas for the San Diego Architectural Foundation are here, and so it's this kind of collaborative space, and then they have art openings there, and some of the stuff that I'll post on Instagram or whatever, these art openings from there, and so he always has somebody there from like this local. There are these local DJs, so they'll come and there's a bar there and they'll come, but I forget who used to do them in LA, but they would just be like one was like this Polynesian restaurant, and I forget the name of it, and then at night, like I don't know, like at 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night or whatever, it would open up into just a dance club, and I think it was maybe like a $5 cover charge or something like that. But I think kind of the good thing is that there was like this, what I mean? Catherine kind of knows. There was in LA in the 90s, there was a kind of a very, I think it was a very closed group of people. And I mean, I'm like friends with them still, like, Angie and Larry and, and Angie Brooks and Larry Scarpa. Yeah, all that. And I mean, that's, it's like,
I wasn't
yeah,
part
it's
of
like
that
we worked together. Yeah, we worked together, but then also we would just hang out, or we like lived close to each other in Venice Beach and stuff. So, I think it's just part of like that part, that part of networking, or when I was up at MDC, I guess Jonathan Siegel and Larry were like, oh yeah, they like said to Jeff Durkin, he's this videographer that does a lot of their videos, and they were like, oh yeah,
30 Live alum.
For Bread Truck Films. And so he lives close by me, I guess, and he just really wanted to know some information about like how he could put kind of like a studio or a tough shed or whatever in the back. And at first I was kind of like, oh great, I'm like the tough shed or ADU like like specialist or something like that. And I mean, but really it was like, well, now I know him, and I mean, now, I mean, I went to coffee with him, and like, and like we had talked, and we realized that there were a lot of people that we knew, or that like he had worked for, that I knew. And so I mean, it was still, still a good connection, and I'm probably going to have him on my podcast and stuff. So, I mean, it's still good to like get out to know. And then if there's people that are if they're somewhere on the, and then he's going to do some other stuff. And, because he was trained as an architect, but he really never practiced architecture. He did practice architecture, but he still like had, he's like, yeah, I just really haven't done that much architecture. So, so that's why they were kind of, pardon me?
Yeah. He's been on, He's been one of our guests for Context and Clarity Live.
Oh yeah, okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, Eric,
Yeah,
I think that
nice
brings
guy.
up an interesting thing, and Erica has a couple of good points here too. I want to bring in, but I think the idea of place has changed too in the past almost 3 years.
Mhm.
This book was published in 2019, so it basically a year-ish before the pandemic, and we didn't ask this question yesterday, but it might have been an interesting direction for the conversations. With these places, are we necessarily talking about physical versus like a place to learn and get certified? Hey, master class, LinkedIn learning, there's all kinds of virtual versions of that now. Erica says that where was the first one? This is the first one I wanted to read, and then I want to really get to the second one. But she says, I've decided, she was talking about the books, about her book challenge. She says, I've also decided this week to try to read all the books this small group in my town is trying to have removed from the library. A reading challenge on top of a reading challenge. So that's pretty cool. But she
Read
says, I'm
banned
at the
books.
point where, the banned book club. I'm at the point where I wish I could do more to network, but I still have to keep things somewhat under wraps. You can ask her more if you don't understand that comment. Covert ops networking. That's a reality for a lot of people at different stages in their career, certainly.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing that came to my mind is still that um, it's kind of that same question. Has the idea of place changed? I know that Ken Coleman says, hey, you need to go have coffee, or you need to have lunch, or you need to see them, be face to face with them. But I still think it's 2023. Face to face could be Zoom, a covert
Yeah.
Zoom meeting, or, pick your platform. Um,
It could be.
I,
And that
I'm
it's so much
partial to
more
coffee, but
convenient. For busy people, like
mm,
let's say you want to talk to
sure.
CEOs and stuff, they don't have to leave and go meet you somewhere. They can just give you 15 minutes pretty easily that way.
It could be 15
Luckily,
minutes on their phone, holding their phone while their driver's taking them to their office in Manhattan.
They're like doing their toenails or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've
John,
done
I
a
cut
perfect
you
number
off
of,
there.
timing.
I've done some lunch meetings lately, and I just find that lunch becomes a distraction unto itself, and it becomes very unproductive as far as getting to the gist of what we're meeting about. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. It can be
Yeah.
done on Zoom. It can be done in the office, face to face, perhaps. I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure that out. How to have the most productive meeting.
Why is
Gary
Right.
lunch
Vayner.
distracted? Why is lunch distracting? Just because you have to chew your food, can't talk.
Well,
Yeah, a waiter comes by. Can I get your order? You're waiting for them to come back. They're bringing you drinks. They come after you're eating. They're like, "How's everything?" And you're trying to have a conversation. There might be people in the restaurant that you know. They come by, say hi. It's there's a lot of distractions there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Gary Vaynerchuk, who many of you know that name, he
He's a noisy eater.
he might be a noisy eater.
slurps and slurps.
That
I
wouldn't.
bet he is
I bet he
slurpy.
is.
Chews with his mouth open. Chews his
He's
food with his
loud.
mouth open. I'll never have another meeting with him at lunch.
Yeah, probably not, especially after this show. But I think that the story is that he has 15-minute meetings all day long, and
Boom, boom, boom. Just
it's
one after the other.
yeah, and it's just religious. 15 minutes. At the end of 15 minutes, he walks out. Now that's a certain position and a certain personality and all of that, but when when on my Calendly. So I use the Calendly app to schedule meetings. If someone says something rude, if I say, "Hey, can we meet? Here's a link," schedule it yourself. Just click something on my calendar. 99% of the Calendly links that I send out are either for a 10-minute or 15-minute meeting. Rarely is it longer than that. And then I get to decide, I suppose, if I want to let it go longer than that. And sometimes I do, but
Have you ever had a 10-minute meeting, Jeff, in your whole life?
for Jeff,
I
that's
feel like
hard.
there's no way.
The 10 stretch to 15
At least.
My 10
hours.
or 15-minute meetings are free on Calendly. Anything beyond that, unless it's an ongoing project, there's a charge for that.
Well,
But
with Jeff though, a meeting time you'd have to have like an alliterative thing, right? Because it's like Java with Jeff, morning mindset. It'd have to be like 11 with Eccles, so 11-minute meeting, something
yeah,
like that. It'd have to be.
11:20 with Jeff Eccles to
Right.
11:30.
There's no J. I can't think of a J time.
Just
Jeff
afternoon
Jam.
with Jeff Eccles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do think that this book kind of, we have been talking about this as virtual proximity count, and I do think it counts because we spend a lot of time together virtually, and I think are lifting each other up in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
You know, so that's why I
I
always
think
sit next to my friend Sadie at rehearsal because she's a really good player. So if I sit next to her, I'll get to be a better player. But if I just sit next to
rub it out.
Janet all the time, I'm never going to get any better. Hope Janet's not listening. Sorry, Janet.
Jamming with Janet.
Janet.
There you go. We're going to spend
Jamming with Janet.
we're going to spend an entire week talking just in alliterations.
Well, I think the whole proximity principle concept is what we're doing, right? I mean, it's what we're trying to do with
Yes.
our clubhouse talks in the morning, with our afternoon talks. And that's what we're, I think, trying to strive for, is a connection that touches all these bases that we're talking about.
I think
No
that
doubt.
it is, yeah, I think that it is natural that
Just
at
putting on
least
your
a
glasses so you
swath,
can hear me.
I think at least a swath of those 5 people types are covered in these conversations. And Christian asked this question earlier on Clubhouse, and we never really did it justice, but he said it might be interesting to ask what role each of us, like what label do I have? Am I the professor or the professional or whatever? And my thought was, well, I think it depends on the relationship. I think it depends on the person. I might be the professor to somebody and the mentor to somebody else and the professional to somebody else. And I don't know if it necessarily works that way, but I think this point of our proximity here qualifies, again, what's the goal, and you can have multiple goals, but I think, yeah, there are plenty of people in this community that I would definitely say are mentors, and plenty of people that I would say are professors, and lots and lots and lots of people that are professionals, and on down the line, peers, certainly. So yeah,
And
I think
I think it depends on just what, it depends on like how it is. I mean, I could easily like talk to any of you as a peer, but then also, it's like sometimes I just need help with something, and I'm like, hey, what would you guys do in this situation? Or what do you think? It's like, how would I go about getting this done? Or
the answer, as Kurt points out, is you book in 11 minutes with Eccles.
I think we should
11
I
with
think we should
Eccles.
make that shorter. 11 with Eccles, I think, is how
Yeah.
it should go.
That's a good one, Kurt.
No, but you're right. We change our roles all the time, but if it just seems, I know a couple people have said this already, but it seems pretty obvious to me that if you want to become, let's say, a numismatist, then you would go hang out with some numismatist and you would study that. You might go to school. I mean, all these things that were like stuff you have to do.
The first thing I would do is buy a dictionary.
Coin collection, coin expert.
Got it. All right. Well, I know we're past the top of the hour. We need to wrap this up, but we have 2 things that we need to do at the end. First is to announce the book club book for
That's
next
my
month.
favorite part.
It's fun to see.
What am I not going to read this month?
New mysticism for fun and profit.
There you go. I'm going to default back.
It's on Audible. It's 18 hours.
Yeah, probably 20 hours.
Is
We're
that a
we're
real
going to
book, Bob?
read. We're going to read Bono's biography,
Are
Surrender.
we? Are you? Oh, you stink. I
You almost got me to read a book
Why
there.
don't we?
Are we really going to read that?
Oh, I wish we would. See how excited Michelle might even read it. Michelle might even read it.
I mean, I would. Well, first of all, I've already listened to it. I would be totally okay with that. I don't know how okay everybody else would be with it, but
All right, what's the other choice?
you tell me. The other choice. I'm going to go back to the original book that
I complained about last time.
Yeah, that I talked about last time. So, Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. And I'm going to almost guarantee that there's no way that we're going to have Will Guidara on Context and Clarity Live, as I've
Seems
been going
unlikely.
back and forth with his people. But
How about
So
Bono?
he's
Maybe
not
we
being
could have
very
him on.
hospitable.
He has people.
He's very
oh,
unreasonable about being
he's
hospitable.
got people. Yeah.
Is he famous? I've never heard of him.
He has people, but if we read
Is he
Bono's,
famous? Is he like big in the hospitality
restaurant
world?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never heard of him.
What are you saying,
he's a big
Catherine? We
deal
could
there,
get
yeah.
Bono. I'll reach
Can
out to
we get
Bono. If we can get Bono, we will 1,000,000% have Surrender as
Oh yeah, of
book
course.
club.
We should get Bono as a keynote speaker to the next Entree Architect meeting.
Oh my god!
And it could start with being a guest on Context and Clarity. So I
He'd
just
never
asked
shut
him
up,
anyway.
though. That's the problem.
Yeah, that would at that point, Jeff just calls it quit, and it's like, I'm done. This is it for me.
Jing, who's TED Talk? Is that Bono's TED Talk or Walter, whatever his name is?
Yeah, who are we talking about? Will Guidara or Bono, or both? So that'll be the book, and I know several people in the community are already reading this book. There's a little bit of a buzz about this book already. So,
which one is the on?
Unreasonable Hospitality. Gene says Will Guidara's
Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yep,
Okay.
it's on Audible.
What is it about?
Well, no spoilers.
Well, I mean,
it's about hospitality. It's about. It's. I think in our terms, it is about client experience. So, that is our book for January. We will discuss it now. We're sort of in a bind because January 27th is the final Friday. That gives you exactly 4 weeks from today to read Unreasonable Hospitality. The other thing is that for Context and Clarity Live next week, we are going to talk with Leo McLeod. And I'm just gonna read you like the first 2 paragraphs from his about page on his website.
Leo McLeod.
He says, I hitchhiked from New York to the West Coast in 1977. I've been a house painter, freelance writer, radio producer, professional fundraiser, ad executive, and marketing consultant. More and more clients saw I had a knack for connecting with people, instilling confidence to push themselves, and helping them communicate clearly and purposefully. All I care about is designing a training program that produces results and answers answers questions. Are people changing? Are they closer to their goals? Can their supervisors see it too? So Leo works with Zweig Group sometimes. He's a leadership development person. Where's the let me go back. The tagline on his website is training, coaching, and pie. And he had me at pie. So we're going to talk.
Pie?
John Kenny would have loved
it. Absolutely, John Kenny would have loved it. The what I would call the hero image, the main image on his page, is a pie crust rolled out with the flour and the rolling pin. So we're going to talk with Leo.
Is he making the pie, or is he consuming the pie?
I'm
Pie
thinking
maker?
both.
Yeah, I think you have to do
thinking both.
both. If you make them, you have to consume them. So,
Not
Jeff,
necessarily. I mean, there's a lot
that's
of
true.
people
That's
that
true. You
make
could sell
pies
them.
that don't eat them.
Yeah.
That's true. Jeff, I believe it or not, don't like to correct you, but it's 3 weeks from now is the last Friday of the month.
Okay.
You're gonna
21
stick with
days
that?
from now. Yep.
All right, get on it.
There you go.
Irascible hospitality. Okay.
Yep.
Irascible. That's a different book.
All right. With that, thanks everybody. Thanks, John, Michelle, Rod, Catherine, for coming on the screen.
Thank you.
Everybody in
It
the
was fun.
comments, Wendy and Jean and Erica and Ed and that coffee sketch podcast guy over on Twitch. Also our troll.
Yes.
Thanks to the troll. You gave
Yeah,
me
I
the
got rid of him too fast. You could have had some more fun with him, Jeff. I'm sorry. Next time I'll
That's all right.
keep him a little longer.
That's multitasking I don't need to do. Duncan, if you're still, or Don Duncan, if you're still on, congrats on launching your firm. Let's talk about that. I want to know more. And everybody that's out there,
Didn't
this
see
is
that.
the great thing. We love celebrating those things. So congrats to Don and everybody else on all of your successes for 2022. Make sure you
Also-
keep talking about them in 2023.
Congratulations for having an alliterative name.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure he had a lot to do with that.
Thank your mom.
On
for
Duncan
that.
Designs.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget network.entrearchitect.com. Join us over there. We're building a network. We're networking 100,000 architects. So network.entrearchitect.com. I will post about Leo McLeod tomorrow morning in the Facebook group, also in the network. You tell me what you want to talk about, and we will bake the the topics for next week. So with that, thanks everybody. Be well, stay safe, keep those around you safe and well. Find a little bit of time to breathe, relax, find some way to rejuvenate. Who said it? It was Jessica said it earlier. It seems like it's been a long week and a short week at the same time.
Yep.
Find a way to recover from this. It's time to get back in the swing of things. Thanks everybody. See you next week.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.